everyone, my name is Eleri Parry and I am currently a film student based between Caernarfon and Surrey. Today I will be giving an introductory entry-level tutorial on Adobe Premiere Pro. I have used this particular editing software for a few years now and still find myself discovering new ways to use it daily. I will be showing you how I edit and explain what I do along the way using basic tools and techniques. I hope that this session inspires you to start using Premiere Pro and become really creative. I know that some Adobe apps seem very intimidating to use at first, but I assure you once you learn all the basic tools and techniques, you'll be absolutely fine. So thank you very much for listening and good luck. So we are first welcomed by the home page, which has two options of new project and open project. So I'm going to go ahead and open the new project option. Now we have a small but an important pop-up display. So this is where we essentially title our project. So right underneath we have a location. So this is where the complete and end product will be on your device. And here it is, the main homepage for our creation. It does look intimidating at first, but trust me, once you're acquainted with the basic and relevant tools, you'll be absolutely fine. There is a blue box highlighting the bottom left corner with a prompt import media to start. Go through the options within. So firstly we have a media browser, and this is where you're available to easily browse files instead of having to leave the application at all. And then we go on to the libraries, so this is where I keep my most frequently used files. And then skipping info, going straight into the effects. This is one of my favourite areas in Premiere, as it's where you can really transform your clips. So I'll come back to this later on. So next to the library we have the main timeline, and this is where all of our gathered footage will go to create a sequence, so the main body of work if you will. Thirdly we have the program box, which displays the main sequence and gives a bit of the visual element of the actual edit itself. So after I have dragged the files from the import area into the timeline, you will now see a full display of the clips and the audio along with a yellow line, as long as the duration of the clip. So this is what we call the rendering line, so we can just ignore that for now. I'm personally not a fan of having all of the raw audio in the end product, so what I'm going to do here is select everything by just dragging the cursor across and then right click. So there should be a list of options, and what I'm going to do here is just scroll down and click unlink, so this actually separates the audio from the footage, so you can do as you please with it afterwards. So as I go through the timeline slowly, it's easy to notice imperfections already. So the first one is that this particular clip hasn't filled the frame properly. So what I'm going to do is select the particular clip, and it introduces us to the source box, where I will click Effect Controls, and here you see various options. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be concentrating on position and scale just here. So what I'll do is press scale and then drag the dot on the line towards the right, and you can see the clip zooming in the display next door. So here's also a quick display of the rotating tool, which I find very useful. While we're here, I'm just going to show you how the positioning tool works. So I click on the position, and as you can see, a blue square appears all around the clip. Here I get to freely resize the frame and pan it to my desired placement. There's a lot you can do just in this bit. After doing so, here is where we render our project. So as of now, it's obviously far from ready, but just to make sure that it's fully rendered makes it easier as we go along. So what I'll do here is I'm just dragging and rearranging some of the clips to make it a bit more orderly. I also wanted to show how you could change the time frame of a selected clip. So what I do is I just right click the desired clip and an options list will appear. I just scroll down to the bottom of the list where the option speed/duration appears. So what I can do now is change the time frame just by 20% or so, just to make the clip a bit faster. Next up, I just freely adjust the clips to my desired duration and just wedge them together again. Moving on from that, I then go back to the bottom left area and select the effects where options for different presets and transitions appear. Again, this is all down to personal preference, and all you need to do really is just have a little explore around. Everything is in one place, so that's really good. My particular favourite preset to use is under the cinematic area, where you could quickly colour grade without having to do it manually. I have done this for years now, and they are really good. This is also where you could select a higher contrast end result or a more faded look. I always go for the former, but feel free to explore this area. And now, as you can see, the footage appears more clear and properly colour graded, but in a way that is really subtle. So now that it's fully rendered, I will now move on to adding a piece of text to the footage. So I will move the cursor down towards the text tool on the left side of the timeline, and then click on my desired location and then write down a day in Carnarvon. As you can see, the text is white and a particular font right now, so what I'm going to do is select all of the text. Then we can see the source box open automatically, giving us more options to change the text. So I will just select the text and click on the arrow by the word text and scroll down. Here I will change the font, so my particular favourite is called Futura. So a fun fact, this is the fonts that Wes Anderson uses in a lot of his films. So now I'll just choose the colour of the font. I usually go for yellow as it's my favourite colour, especially on film. Then I will drag out the pink text box in the timeline to my desired duration, and there we go. After doing so, this is where I like to add any video transitions. So I'll go back to the bottom left box and go to the effects and select my favourite transition, which is the cross dissolve. And then I will select the little box and drag the transition to the timeline, and then repeat that until I'm satisfied with the results. If any pop-up comes up, just press OK and ignore for now. This is where I would render the video again, as I've used a lot of transitions. After the render, I can press the key above Control on my MacBook keypad so that the progress window becomes larger, so that I could preview the rendered clips. I can now see the transitions in action, making the footage run a lot more smoothly. So I'm nearly at the end of the editing session here, so what I do lastly is add my desired audio, which is currently stored in the project box in the bottom left. I've noticed that the audio is too long for the clip, so I just go ahead and drag that down to my desired duration And that's that. I'm done with the editing session. Show you how to safely export your finished video. So I just click File, then go down to Export, then Export Media, and then this display will show up with a lot of different options. So I always stick to the format H.264 as it's never failed me before. I then choose my preset, and again I always stick to the Vimeo 1080p preset, but again it's all down to your personal preference. As you can see, there are a lot of options that you can choose from. Then I go ahead and click on the blue text, which is the output name. So again, making sure to title the project again instead of having a bunch of random numbers and letters. So I title that and click Save. And then click Export at the bottom, and there we go. It shouldn't take too long to export. It usually depends on the length of your video. So that's us done. This is the end of the editing session. I just wanted to keep it very simple and stick to the basic tools to begin with. You can now explore the application for yourself and discover many new things to experiment with. So thank you so much again for joining me, and I hope you're staying safe in these uncertain times, and I hope you've enjoyed the rest of the festival. I've been watching it myself and I've really enjoyed it. Thank you again, everyone.